Hi, welcome to Most Shocking. Today we look at the shocking murder of Lauren Giddings. This is a Mercer College law student from Georgia by the name of Stephen McDaniel. In the early hours of June the 26th, 2011, Stephen McDaniel broke into the apartment of his downstairs neighbour and fellow law school graduate Lauren Giddings, where he murdered and dismembered Lauren in a horrific fashion using a stolen hacksaw from the campus. It was later discovered that Stephen McDaniel had secretly filmed Lauren that night from outside her apartment. Four days later, Lauren was reported missing by her friends, and McDaniel was interviewed by a local news channel. Take a look.
Do you know any enemies she might have had, somebody that might want to hurt her?
No, we don't know where she is. The only thing we can think is that maybe she went out running and someone snatched her. Because we went over. One of her friends had a key. We went inside and tried to see if there was anything amiss, but she had a door jamb that was sitting right by it, so there was no sign that anyone broke in. The door was locked when everyone got here.
You can see at this point Stephen's demeanour. He's using a lot of hand gestures and his tone keeps going quite high-pitched, which also indicates lying. But the biggest shock is what's coming next.
What about in the parking lot area? I know they've been doing a lot of, I think that's where they had recovered the body or whatever they recovered from there.
Body?
Had you seen anything there? Had you seen anything there? We don't know if this is the same person. You know what I mean? Like, they took out a body there earlier. We don't know if it's the same person or not. So that's how we're trying to ask people if they know who lived there. Are you okay, sir?
I think I need to sit down.
Okay.
So the reporters just told Stephen that a body has been found in the parking lot next to the apartment buildings where he and Lauren Giddings lived. He does seem genuinely shocked at this, but bearing in mind Stephen's already aware, because Stephen was the one that dismembered Lauren and disposed of her different body parts in different trash cans. Is this the fact that he's not shocked that a body's been found, but the fact that it's been found at all, because maybe Stephen believed that the trash would have been emptied by now, bearing in mind this is 4 days later, this is 4 days after the murder.
You've been studying for the bar?
No one had seen her since Saturday because there's not a whole lot of interaction unless we're doing classes.
Right.
And she was doing the online version of it.
You all studied together, though?
We were in. There's two different people there's two companies that provide it. Kaplan provides it and Barbary provides it. I signed up with Barbary and I've been doing the lectures that they have in the mornings.
So Stephen's come back after his short brief spell of sitting down to speak to the reporter, and you can see that he, to everybody else, looks genuinely upset. But his hand gestures are more animated, there's more of them, he's fidgeting and he's stumbling his words. These are all classic signs of deception and basically trying to get the reporter to believe what he's telling them.
She was doing the Kaplan online, so I hardly ever saw her. I would see her go out running, but
What time would she go out running?
I don't even know when.
Was it at night or morning?
I saw her midday a couple weeks ago. That was the last time I saw her, was coming back from the bar prep on the main campus because we got moved over there for a week or two.
But she normally would run. That was the
routine
that she had.
She ran all the time. She had a group that she would go running with. I don't know anyone that would want to hurt her. She was as nice a person as there is.
So is she moving soon? Did you know anything about her?
Yeah. She was going to be moving out today. She was supposed to move out today because someone else was going to be moving into her apartment in the new law school.
Do you know if she was like, where is she from? Is she from Maryland?
Yeah, she's from up in Maryland.
I'll just put this on you so we can hear you. Is that all right?
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Here, and you can just hold on there. Thank you.
You can tell as well that Stephen's feeling vulnerable at this point. Stephen keeps touching his head, and when somebody's being deceptive, they can tend to touch vulnerable parts of the body like the head, the neck, the chest. He keeps pushing his hair back, and he's also breathing really deeply when there's questions being asked of him, but yet when he's answering, his breathing returns to normal straight away.
So she's from Maryland?
Yeah, I mean, she was from up in Maryland. I mean, all her family was there, as far as I know. I mean, she...
What's going on in your mind right now? Like, what are you thinking?
Why would anyone do this?
She didn't hear anything?
No.
Didn't see anybody?
Again, classic signs of deception here. So he's pretending to cry, but there's actually no tears.
Do you want to sit down for a second? You got something to drink?
Do you know if a bunch of her friends are getting together or anything?
I mean, that's how I found out that she was missing. A bunch of her friends came over yesterday night around midnight, and they hadn't seen her since Saturday, so they were trying to find out where she was.
So they were knocking on neighbors' doors and stuff?
They went in, they had a key to her apartment, and they checked around, didn't see anything out of place. I mean, it was locked when everyone got there.
That was midnight?
Yeah, around midnight, and then we went over to law school to see if maybe she was over in the library studying or something. And we looked up in the study rooms on the third floor, and there was no one there. And we came back, we looked around, and just tried to find anything to figure out where she was.
She doesn't have any family in Georgia?
I don't know. I mean, as far as I know, all of her family is from in Maryland.
Have you met her family before?
There was one time that I met them. They came down first year. She had a little dog, a little brown dog, that she would exercise out in front of the law school, and it got hit as she was coming across the road. I heard the car hit it and ran out, and she was there crying, and thankfully there was someone who came along who knew a vet or something, and they helped that, and her family came down, I think a couple weeks after that or something. I met them just briefly.
Right.
But
Is there a boyfriend or
we've been trying to figure out. She has a boyfriend up in Atlanta, but someone called him, and he hadn't heard from her. No one could figure out where she was.
Stephen's already using past tense now. Doesn't know where she was. Nobody knows where she was. Stephen has been told that a body's been found, but up until this point it's not been confirmed that it is Lauren. And although likely, surely if you was a friend or even a fellow student, you would still be living in the vain hope that it wasn't Lauren.
Who was the last person to be with her? You said that somebody had seen her on Saturday?
Yeah, she went over to a couple friends' house, Garen Mueller and Joe Cairns. They live over on Walnut, and they said that she was over there in the morning, and then that was the last time that anyone we've been able to find out from had seen her.
She hadn't mentioned what she was going to do that day or anything?
Joe, he got onto her computer last night to see if she had said anything. She'd sent an email out to some people that afternoon talking about like going out to eat or something. And the last thing that there was an email that she sent out after 10 that night where she sent to, I think it was someone in Atlanta, a friend of hers in Atlanta, and she said that she was afraid in her apartment that she thought that someone had tried to break in on Thursday night, and she was afraid to stay in there. But
where did you hear that from? From Joe?
He pulled it up and we read it off the screen.
And she had said that to a friend in Atlanta?
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but...
And you hadn't heard anything on Thursday night?
No.
She never came to you to tell you anything?
No,
So later that day, police searched McDaniel's room. The police said at that point McDaniel became quite unhinged and his behaviour became quite odd. He was sweating profusely and he drank at least 10 bottles of water. In an interrogation, which you will see in the next video, McDaniel didn't reveal anything, but again came off incredibly odd. In the following days to this interview, police would find the packaging to the hacksaw used to dismember Lauren in McDaniel's room, as well as a master key to the rooms in the building which he had stolen from one of the landlords and gained access to Lauren's apartment. They also found a pair of Giddings' underwear in McDaniel's apartment and several blog posts he had written describing torture and violence towards women. After being arrested and held in custody for 10 months, McDaniel confessed to the murder and pleaded guilty on the 21st of April 2012. He did receive a sentence of life in prison. He detailed how he stalked Lauren, even filming her through a second-story window which was seen earlier with a camera attached to a long stick directly before the murder. When he knew that she was alone in her room, he used the master key he had stolen from one of the landlords to enter her room. Lauren did wake at the sound of him sneaking into the room, at which point Stephen jumped on Lauren and strangled her to death. He then dragged her body to a bathtub where he used the hacksaw to dismember her body. He placed these dismembered parts in garbage bags and dumped them in dumpsters around the area. He fully expected, as I discussed at the beginning of the video, that all of these body parts would have been brought to the dump, especially 4 days after she'd been reported missing of when this interview was. So when he found out that a body had been found, I believe this is why he appeared in shock. Due to the planning that went into the crime, as well as the relative little contact between the killer and his victim, many believe McDaniels was a budding serial killer who would have gone on to kill more. I'm not sure. I don't know whether it seems to be an obsession that went wrong for Stephen. Stephen's now being held at Valdosta State Prison and will likely stay in prison until his death. Please watch the rest of the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And the next video will be the interrogation, of which we'll analyse that too.
If she had, I could have done something. I could have lent her a handgun. I've got a little handgun that I have for defense. And
Or she could have slept over or something.
yeah, something. If she was afraid in her apartment, then get her out of there.
So they tried to break in on Thursday.
That's what she said in the email. She thought that someone had tried to break into her apartment. She said, like, Macon hoodlums tried to break into my apartment on Thursday night.
Is that her car parked there? The Chevy?
No.
Small car?
No, I think that's the detective's car, Detective
her
Patterson.
car's not even there?
No, it was here earlier, and they towed it. It'd been there for days, and then they towed it to, I guess, look through, see if there was... Yeah.
How did you find out that something was wrong with the police here? Was it like when you walked up a little while ago, or?
No, the police were called last night, and they came and they looked around. They didn't see anything. They went in, we looked around the place. No sign of a struggle, no sign that anyone had broken in, just nothing. Just she was gone. All of her stuff was there, her ID was there, her wallet was there, but yeah, they took statements trying to find out if anyone had seen anything, if anyone had heard anything, when the last time anyone saw it was.
No, they haven't confirmed, at least not with us, that it was Lauren that they found. Are you holding out any hope right now?
I hope, but if they found it on the property somewhere.
Not much hope.
You hadn't heard anything about a body until you were talking to us earlier?
No. As far as any of us knew, they were still trying to just find her. We got an email this morning from some people that live on the other side of Kroger, on the other side of the river, that they had seen her in the past running in that area. We thought maybe someone had snatched her over there, or maybe she got hurt or something.